Hello everyone, and in today's video I'm going to be tearing into this old compact Presario, and you guys are going to be along for the ride. So what we've got here is a late 1990s compact Presario. I'm not sure why this is coming through as purple, but it's sort of purple-ish, but it's not as purple as this. It's more of a bluish purple. I'm not sure why exactly it's coming through like that on the camera. But anyway, this is most likely sometime around late 1997, and it probably shipped sometime in mid to late 1998, if not 1999. It's got a Intel Pentium 3 inside, apparently, assuming that this sticker is accurate. It also has a designed for Microsoft Windows 98, which does lead me to believe this is probably an earlier Pentium 3 model, and not one of the later Pentium 3 models. It's got a plain old compact disc reader, as well as a CD writer and a floppy disk drive with room for a second floppy disk drive, and dual USB ports. These are probably 1.0 ports or 1.1, and then you've got a sort of clicky power button. So I thought I'd take the time to mention that there is a compact whatever insignia right there on the side. I just found that to be a bit interesting that they had not taken the sticker off. The original owners appear to have taken relatively good care of it, and it appears to not be in the worst of shape. I haven't opened it yet. I have no idea if the thing works. Paid 20 bucks for it. It's a Pentium 3. I wanted a Pentium 3, so I got a Pentium 3. So moving down, you've got the power supply and the Windows 98 2nd Edition sticker. Really, who cares about Windows 98 at this point when obviously Windows ME is out now, and it's an obvious upgrade from Windows 98 2nd Edition. I just thought I'd take a bit of a time to plug our new Facebook page. You can like Windows ME on Facebook. We are the first and only Windows ME supporter group. It is a seriously underrated operating system. There's a link down in the description below. So moving on, we've got the legacy ports like PS2 and USB 1.0. I believe it's USB 1.0. I highly doubt that that is USB 2.0. Macs at the time, like even expensive Macs, did not. And this is the kind of computer that you would buy at Circuit City for like $1,000 back in the day, because people nowadays, I think, are really used to only paying like $500 if all they want to do is browse the web, or even less than that now with the Chromebook. But no, back in the day, if you wanted a computer, you had to pay up. And usually service and support was a lot better. They didn't kind of like outsource you to India. You just called up and you were talking to pretty much the compact support. Everything was made in America. Very rarely, I'm not going to go deeper into the social aspect, but really, computers started here in California, and Silicon Valley was still a thing in the 90s. Steve Jobs had just come back into Apple. Moving on, you've got the standard audio, which leads me to believe that there is audio built into this motherboard. I'm probably going to end up putting a decent sound card in there because I'm going to be playing Half-Life 1 on this thing. That is, if I get it running. And then you've got that joystick port. A video card, which it's got a single VGA out and a S-video out, as well as a dual modem jack. And an Ethernet card, which leads me to believe that this person obviously used this computer up until Ethernet was really a thing, because in some places Ethernet is still not a thing. So that leads me to believe, yeah, this computer was definitely used later on. It had a relatively long lifespan, which therefore I'm guessing that this thing should work. Usually when you get a computer that does not have an Ethernet port, a lot of people would say that, oh yeah, that has nothing to do with it, but it shows that the person actually took care of their investment and used it up until the modern age, and I guess that therefore they probably just used it. This is such a rant. It's such a rant, but I'm keeping it in the video. This is just the thoughts that are going through my head whenever I'm working on computers, but you get the idea. They used it for a long time, they protected their investment, and usually this was retired not because it was thrown down the stairs, but probably because it got old and they just upgraded to a new computer. There, end rant. Alright guys, so I guess we're now just going to try and open up the side panel here. It may take some prying and trying to figure out how exactly it opens. I think it just sort of slides off. At least that's the theory. I have not really had much experience on any sort of compacts. My first real PC though was an HP compact. It was like a little Desk Pro thing, and it was a Pentium 4. That was my first PC that I actually enjoyed, and that was probably the main reason why I went PC, was because I had a decent experience on that. This thing is just not coming off of there. Just give me a second, guys. Let's see if I can get this open off camera. Alright guys, I think I finally got it. This little locking mechanism. And this is my first time actually opening the computer, so let's just see what it looks like. What do we got here? Wow. I'm actually just impressed immediately. There's a lot of dust. It's got a Foxconn motherboard, and a Foxconn cooler, but this GPU looks like a beast. I think somebody actually was doing some pretty decent gaming on here. Alright, so I'm just going to get the compressor hooked up so I can just blow this thing clean before we do the first startup. Alright, I've got a bit of a compressor. It's not the compressor I was thinking of, but it's the only one that I'm really going to be using at this time of the night. The other one is just too loud, so this will work. Getting a lot of dust just everywhere. I'm going to have to vacuum after this, surely. Now, this GPU, it looks like such a beast. It's red, and I think it's just like an early Radeon card. I think it's got at least 64 megabytes of RAM, VRAM, I'd imagine. I'd be surprised if it had 128, but yeah, this thing should run Half-Life like a beast. Alright, the window's open. I'm just sort of trying to get all the dust out of the room. But I've got the 80mm on the Canon T3i. So there's cars going by. I apologize for that. But you can get a good look into the computer. It's got a compact power supply. I believe that is 240 watts. So if I do upgrade the graphics card further, I may need to get a better power supply for this. Probably something around a 350 watts should drive it. And just let me have a look at these RAM sticks here. Are these things, I am thinking that they're just SD RAM. Yeah, these things are the, they're not DDR. They're SD RAM. So if I could get that back in there without breaking the motherboard, that'd be just swell. There we are. You can never really be too rough with RAM. Well, you can be too rough, but don't be afraid to really press on RAM. Alright, she's all hooked up for a first boot. So, this is the first time I've ever actually seen it boot, so this is also incidentally one of those computers that has a weird power supply to where if you plug it in, it automatically turns on. It seems to happen with a lot of these old power supplies. So, anyway. Smoke test. Plug that in. Alright, it's turned on. So far, hasn't blown up. And there's something on the screen. Let me just adjust the tripod and dim the lights so that you guys can get a better view. So far, it seems to be booting up fine. Start Windows normally. We got a command prompt. It's kind of out of focus right now, but yeah. Let me just, where's the enter button? I hate this keyboard. Alright, there we are. There we are. Alright. Holy crap. Oh my god. Windows XP Home Edition. I knew that these people had used this computer for a while, but Windows XP, I mean, I've seen bigger stretches. I have seen Windows 7 running on these things, but really, come on, Windows XP, that is such a boring operating system. I'm sure we'll be able to fix that. Hopefully I'll be able to get into there with a decent account. So here we are at the desktop, and mouse seems to be working. Such a boring operating system. I think they even wiped the drive. Either that or we're about to get just hit with malware. I would not at all consider connecting this computer to the internet. So it's found new hardware. I am actually going to start the download right now of Windows Millennium Edition onto this computer. And that is just, it's a bit of a stretch, really. You guys are probably getting a ton of grain. Yeah, that's what the desktop looks like. So it's found the USB mouse. This looks like a very fresh install. Borze, is that even a name, or is it AOL? This looks like a thing. Wonder if they happen to leave their stuff on here. Yeah, looks like they moved a ton of their stuff. This is just personal documents. I'm obviously going to delete this because I have no business in some Indian guy's stuff, but you gotta delete your stuff, people. No matter how old the computer is, you just gotta delete your stuff. Now before we do that, I'd like to just see what kind of processor we're working with. So he apparently had taken off the computer thing, so I guess we're gonna have to find it. Here we are, my computer. The guy had a large pornography and collection in all of his business documents. It just makes me mad that somebody would do this. Registered to whatever, Everything Enterprises, Intel Pentium 3, 697 megahertz, 256 megs of RAM. I think the RAM is pretty much maxed out. So I've got some Windows Millennium Edition floppy disks making right now on my quad core. So we're just going to get rid of Windows XP. Windows XP is a peasant-based kernel. Okay, we're going back to Windows Millennium Edition, which is based on the Master Race kernel. So, yeah. Alright guys, so here we have a copy of Windows Millennium Edition. So we're just going to pop this thing into its disk drive and just pretty much let it do its thing. Probably I'm guessing that this one is the master drive and that the burner is the secondary drive. So we're just going to put the CD reader into the drive and just see if it... I'm not even sure, I didn't verify the disk, so I thought that would just take too much time. So let's just see if we can go to my documents. This guy's still... Nope. Anyway, so it should be under removable storage. Oh, here we are, Windows 9X. Windows 9X is a great project that combines anything from Windows 95 up to Windows 2000. And it just is generally a pretty good project. So I'm just going to restart the computer and we'll get to the installation. Okay guys, so I just did this. I just inserted it. Start computer without CD-ROM support. I forget how Joe did this. I may actually have to get him on a Skype call. Enter choice. I forget what he typed in. Just let me talk to him real quick. Alright, I couldn't get him on the line, but it is F-disk. Hit enter.
Alright.
I got the stream going. I've been watching Spank's stream. Just had to mute that. Your computer has a disk larger. Yes, I wish to enable large disk support. Forgot to mute Spank's stream. Your computer has NTF. May require large drive support. Should be treated as large. Yes. Current drive. Enter choice. Create a DOS partition. Set active position. Delete partition. 3. Let's try that. Choose one of the following. This is a bit scary. Choose delete primary DOS partition. Delete. Alright. Oh, okay then. Yeah, escape to continue. Alright, so apparently I didn't do that right. So 1, create a DOS partition. create a primary DOS partition. No space to create a DOS partition. Well then. Okay, let's try that again. Start Windows 98. We'll just see. I mean, even Windows 98 is better than Windows XP. We'll probably get Windows ME onto it later. But in case you didn't notice, I've had this inside joke going with Joe for the longest time, to where it's not really all that much of a joke. Windows ME is so underrated. People make it out to be this horrid operating system, but yes, I guess we're just installing Windows 98. Setup will now configure your first hard disk. To configure your hard disk now, press Y. I'm a touch typist, but not on this particular keyboard. Yes, enable large disk support, because I am going to be playing so much Half-Life. It's going to be awesome. And for 20 bucks, it's so worth it, because I actually got Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 on a Steam sale. It was the last Steam sale that they had. So it was the Christmas Steam sale. Setup will restart your computer. Please make sure it's in disk A. To continue, press enter. So this is the cheap keyboard that actually came with my first multi-core PC. The guy just threw it in. He sells PCs on Craigslist. He was a really nice guy, actually. And up until then, I had only used VGA. Had never used HDMI, had never used anything. That was when I was still rocking the iMac. So, yes, we want to boot from CD-ROM. And that iMac was actually pretty decent. Yes, driver provided. I really hope that we're not in some kind of loop now. Bus scan complete. So hopefully now it'll just start the installation. Alright, it's formatting drive C. So I'm going to continue watching Spank's stream and then I will get back to you. Alright, so it's performing a routine check of the system. So it formatted the drive and it's apparently is just preparing to install. So it did the scan disk thing. And obviously there's nothing much to scan. Please wait a second. It initializes. Setup could not find the specified setup.cab file. Cannot continue. Remove floppy disk from the drive and pressing a key to restart the system. I really hope I don't have to go through with formatting with this again. So now we got to boot into the CD drive. Boot CD. There's nothing on the hard drive now. It's not needed. Alright, so it should be starting. This computer, actually, I could see myself hooking it up to a switcher. Enter. Alright, so hopefully now either that or we're just stuck and I'm probably going to have to find this. Another operating system. Okay, so it can't find the cab file for some reason. So, looks like this is not a good disk. So, back to Windows Millennium Edition. You know, Joe, I really should have never tried to stray from the one true operating system of the future. Here I come, Windows Millennium Edition. Alright, so I just got Windows ME on a floppy disk. Hopefully this will work this time, but we're going to give it the old college try. Just waiting for it to boot up. Okay, so Windows Millennium startup menu, start computer with CD-ROM support. Alright, so it looks like we are getting into the operating system of the future here, people. The future is now. Man, I really should go to bed. I've been up since, well, let's see here. I didn't get up at 3 a.m. I was up till 3 a.m. and then I got up at 8. So, I didn't get much sleep last night. Alright, everything seems to be going quite swell. This is going to be so much fun to play Half-Life on. Yeah, I buy up whenever I find floppy disks. I find, I get big packages at the Goodwill. for like $2, and I got this package of like 100 new old stock floppy disks. So whenever I find them, I just pick them up because they're always useful for these old computers. And this one, I'm imagining myself getting a CF card upgrade. I noticed that Road Geek actually put a CF card in his. So so far this thing has proven to be a pretty decent computer. So if this hard drive does fail, well, shucks, I guess. We're just going to install a CF card at some point. F-disk. I remembered that command this time. I'm actually quite proud of myself. Yes, we want large disk support. Great. Yes, continue. Set active partition. This only startable partition on drive is already set active. Escape to continue. I'm not exactly sure what to do. Let's see here. We seem to be stuck in a loop. So where it's current fixed drive disk 1 partition status, so it's showing create primary DOS partition, but we already created a primary DOS partition, so just set that as the active partition. Is already set active. Alright, let's just see if we can delete the partition. One warning, data and deleted partition will be lost. There's no data left on it. We already deleted that Indian guy's porn. Enter volume label. I'm guessing C. Volume label does not match. I need to look this up. Alright, we're trying it again. This time we're just booting minimal boot. So far nobody is answering any of my questions. So it looks like we're just gonna have to wing it. Has this camera sort of been out of focus this entire time? Just let me put it back into manual focus and just quickly focus right in on the screen. There we are. Select mode. Perhaps I should type in what happens if you type in C disk, F disk. I guess you have to type in F disk. That then loads. I wanna get it just into the installer, but right now this is just kind of making no sense to me because, again, at the time I was mainly a Mac fan. So just wanted the following: create DOS partition. We'll create an extended DOS partition. No space to create a DOS partition. We are stuck in a loop. Let me get somebody on the phone. Okay, let's see here. Alright, so according to this thing I found on the internet, because you can always believe everything you find on the internet. Format. That may have been Joe. But we'll see if we can get through this without having to go on a Skype call with him. Format C. Bad command. Yay, Skype call. Alright, I think I've got things starting to get figured out for this old computer, so at least I've gotten into some kind of setup, so more details later. Alright, so I'm in a Skype call with Trevor, and he's actually helped me out with finding a proper boot disk for Windows 98. Windows ME, yeah, we're back to 98. Let's just leave it at that. Alright, so we're in Windows 98 setup, so special thanks to Trevor for helping me. You can check out his channel down in the link below. He does a lot of really cool computer videos, so yeah, you can check him out down in the link below. And it looks like I need a PS2 mouse, because apparently Windows 98 did not acknowledge USB yet. Right, so the good news is that Windows 98 will allow me to go through the setup on keyboard, and it looks like Trevor's back. Here she is, guys. Yeah, so I got a PS2 mouse working with it, and it's Windows 98. It's saying, welcome to the exciting new world of Windows 98. where your computer desktop meets the internet. Sit back and relax and take a brief tour. I'm not going to take no dang tour. Thank you, Windows 98, but I'm not going to take any sort of tour. And so now it's just a matter of installing drivers and all that stuff, and then getting a decent Opera browser for this thing. So battery's running dry on this and it's getting late, so see you guys in part 2, and until then, kick it.